Chancellor, Sir, Professor Amarpreet Garg, Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Jayanand, esteemed dignitaries for today's program, Mr. S.P. Singh Ji, retired DGM, Punjab National Bank, Dr. Ashish Agrawal Ji, Chartered Accountant, Professor Chinmay Chaturvedi Ji, Head Department of Economics, NES College, Meerut, Dr. Ajay Sharma Ji, Chartered Accountant, Professor Raju Dutt, Director, NICE SPS, Professor of Economics, Swatan Singh Chauhan, Sir, Professor Ashok Kumar Sir, Director IQAC, all senior faculty members, and dear students. I, Dr. Neha Ajurvedi, wholeheartedly welcome you all in today's program on Pre-Budget Expectation 2023. Before proceeding, I would like to request all the dignitaries to lighten up the lamp before Ma Saraswati for seeking the blessings. Thank you, sir. I request all the dignitaries to come over the time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request Dr. Raju Dutt, sir, to welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor. I request Dr. Ashok Gupta, sir, to welcome Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor. I request Dr. R.K. Jain, sir, welcome Mr. S.P. Singh, sir. I request Dr. Anuj Goyal, sir, welcome Mr. Ashish, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Shashil Dhaka ma'am to welcome Dr. Chinmay ma'am. I request Dr. Nishan Parkar sir, welcome Mr. Ajay Sharma sir. I request Dr. Anish Goyal sir to welcome Professor S.S. Chauhan sir. Thank you, sir. Proceeding further with the program, I would like to request Professor Ajay Dutt sir, Director Vice President, for his welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nair. Good morning to all. It is a matter of great pleasure that the NICE School of Business Studies is organizing this colloquium on pre-budget expectations 2023 today. On behalf of NICE SBS, I heartily welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Amar P. Garg, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Jayanan, respected Mr. S.P. Singh, Dr. Ajay Sharma, Professor Dr. Chinmay Chaturvedi, Dr. Ashish Agarwal, Dr. S.S. Chauhan, Mr. Manish Mishra who will be joining us a little later, and Professor Ashok Gupta, Director IQAC, all deans, directors, and HODs, faculty members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. The forthcoming budget comes amid a challenging backdrop as recession. Any fears take the center stage globally. And the question, therefore, is what extent of what consolidation will be the government choose? On the strategic level, however, the broad reforms process should continue with outlays earmarked for rural development, boosting manufacturing, employees generation, and capacity building through infrastructure. This pre-budget session today has been organized to discuss all these issues and many more issues related to the budget as well. I once again welcome you all for this session of pre-budget expectations 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like
Very good morning to all. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure and honor to be in the pre-budget expectation session of 22-23 and the assessment year 23-24. The guests, experts on the dais and off the dais. I have few questions which should be addressed, or which I expect, or which the pupil expect from the experts to answer. The first question is that The government says that the educational institutions are the charitable, non-profitable organizations. In fact, if you see in the Constitution of India, you will find that this is the responsibility of the government to do the social service, to educate the people. And now, if the people are doing this charitable service, why the government is charging the GST on this social service? You will find that any of the item which is purchased by the institutions, research organizations, it is taxed GST 18%. Although the government has made a provision that there will be some zero certificate after registration with the DSIR, and our university is also having the registration. But are we really transferring that benefit to the institutes? No. Most of the dealers say that we don't recognize it. We don't follow this now. And moreover, what happens that many of the dealers, they are having the fixed amount of the GST, that is a fixed, that is rate 5. They show the sale of 5 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs, and they pay the fixed GST. And they don't recognize this certificate. So what the government is planning and what it is expected from the government, should the social services, which are the responsibility of the government, they should be taxed? This is one question. Second, what I would like to have the answer from the experts during this pre-budget session, that there is a vast gap between the salaries of the government servants and the private servants. What the government is doing. And you expect that the universities should be in top 100 in Hindustan. What the government is doing. Last budget, I was seeing that some 20,000 crores was fixed for the research. NRF, Research Foundation Fund, National Research Foundation Fund. To my knowledge and information, not a single penny has been spent. So what is the utility of such type of the budget when you make the provision and you don't use it, and then you divert it? The third question is, which should be addressed and discussed on this August platform, that in such type of the situations, how you expect that the institutions or the universities will be on the top hundreds when you are not granting any funds, when you are not promoting any education, you are taxing the education, you are taxing the things, and you are taxing and increasing the fees, increase everything. You are not giving any funds or anything at par. You just say on paper that the private and the state universities are the same. And you make some allocation, but this fund mainly and solely 90% of the fund, it goes to the central universities and state universities, and no fund is. Now, for example, there is a provision of the 12B section in the UG, which gives the guarantee and which gives the status that the private universities can get the funds. Even those universities who have been granted the 12B status, none of the university has been given the fund by the state, by the university. None. So what is the reliability, or what is the relevance of such type of the systems in the budget? The budget, when you make a presentation, then it should be honestly, sincerely, faithfully, and religiously. It should be followed. It should be implemented. It should be strictly. Now I am coming to the NEP 2020. I have been interacting with many of the public schools. You say that the NEP 2020 has been implemented, or it will be implemented from the next year. How many of the public schools are aware of the NEP 2020? How many of the public schools are ready to accept this NEP 2020? I have interacted with many. They say that, what is NEP 2020? We will not accept it. So the policies, all these things, they need to be discussed, addressed. The another thing is that the salaried people, their income tax limit, 2.5 lakhs, I think since last 3-4 years. Since last several years, it is continuing. I don't remember, because exactly year I don't remember, but I am the taxpayer since 1975, regularly. When my salary, total salary, annual salary was 10,000. Then the taxpayer limit, I remember that it was 10,000. That if you are having the more than 10,000 of the salary, then you are liable to pay the tax. So since 1975, I am paying the tax. And now, after 60 or after 70 years, no senior citizen is allowed to take the insurance. If it is continuing since beginning, then it is a different issue. But the senior citizens, they cannot get any insurance after 70. We say that we respect the senior citizens, and this is the policy of the government, that they respect and they honor the senior citizens like this, that no insurance policy can be given to them. They cannot get any insurance policy. So several things are that we say that we are the civilized nation, and we are the social. In Constitution of India, it is written that the social, Indian Constitution is social. What is the definition of the social? When 3% of the total economy of the country is under the hands of is shared by more than 50% of the people. And the 80-90% of the GDP, it is controlled by less than 10% of the people. So do you think that this is the socialist? So either you remove the socialism from the constitution, or you say that that our budget is the capitalist. Yes, practically it is capitalist. Then why you are giving the false propaganda that we are the socialist country? Yes, we should be proud to say it, that yes, we are capitalist. And I do agree that without the capitalism, the development of the country cannot take place. Socialism, in many of the countries, it has been failed. In many of the countries, it has been failed. And most of the 90% of the countries, they are already having the capitalism and capitalistic system. We want to generate the employment. No government can give the government jobs to 140 crore people. No government. And no government in the world has ever been able to give the 100% government job to its population. No country in the world. So we have to focus on the privatization, private jobs. Now the private jobs or the private system needs to be controlled, needs to be strengthened. The services of the private sector needs to be secured. And there should be some system in the budget. Now, more than 70 years, we are already having the 75 years of the independence. And during these 75 years of the independence, we have not been able to secure and ensure the private servants for their security, for their equality, for their equal wages, for several things which are guaranteed in the Constitution. If you see the Article 14, Article 21, there are several guarantees, and the Supreme Court is our guarantor of the Constitution. So these are some of the vital questions which need to be addressed. And if the universities cannot address these questions, then who else will do it? Do you think that the politicians will do? Politicians, they have their own agenda. They will discuss and point out only those things which are based on their vote bank. Universities are meant for making the planning, for policy making, and for discussing the policies, for giving the direction to the policy makers. And with this viewpoint, I would like to request the honorable experts to throw the light. Every year you see that the inflation is going up, but the tax limit is the same. So are you not making the people poorer every year? And then you say that we are progressing. We have become the 5th economy of the world. So really, the last person who is in the queue in the system is able to get any benefit of the 5th economy of the world. I do agree that the infrastructure during the last 6-7 years, it has improved. Many things have improved. I don't mean to say that everything, whatever the government is doing, it is wrong or it is bad. The only thing is the 140 crore people, this is a very large population. The expectations of the people from the government are too much, too high, and it is difficult to fulfill. And honestly speaking, I also say that many of the people, the tax evaders, although during the last 5-6 years, due to the digitization of the records and the digitization of the system, many of the things we are being loopholes are being filled up, but still there are several. For example, the professionals like CAs, advocates, doctors, they are having the liberty to give that they will say that 40%, 30%, 45% of their total income is spent on their professional. Do you think that only these are the professional people who are able to spend this money on their system? Even the teachers. Now, I do remember that when I was a beginner in the teaching profession, then I used to purchase the books for in a year in 76, in 80s, I am talking of that. Almost my 1 month salary was going in the purchase of the books. But now I am earning enough, but I don't spend even 10% of the 1 month salary in the books. So the system has changed. The things are changing. So the question is that professional only are those professionals should be well defined, and their expenses should be within the limits. Within the limits, there should be some sort of rationalization. Still, the budget is not ensuring the equal dignity of life to all sections of the society. There is a vast gap, vast difference. So the vast gap needs to be reduced. Vast difference in the salaries or income of the highest person and the lowest person in India is the widest gap. You will not find such type of the widest gap in the world in any country. What we are having here. So what our budget is doing. So these are the few points which I would like to have on which I would like to have the opinion of the experts today, and the students and the other faculty members, senior faculty members, and the young faculty, brilliant faculty members are sitting over here. They should also express their opinion and the points that what they expect from the government. So thank you very much, and it is my pleasure, and I am happy that the NICE School of Business Studies, as usual in the previous years, as they have been doing it, they have organized this budget this year too. So all my best wishes for this focused discussion and the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Jayanan, sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, for his address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nair. Honorable Vice Chancellor and preliminary speakers on the dais, the Director of School, senior faculty members, and as I say, most importantly, my students. Today we all gathered here to discuss on the execution of Union Budget 2023. Before I proceed, I would congratulate the school for having wonderful program on expectation. The whole budget is of 3 sessions. One is first the expectation, what the masses are expecting from the budget. Second is the live session of the budget, when the budget will be presented on the platform of democracy. That will be displayed, and we will have that also. And then after, third session is post-budget session analysis, post-budget analysis. What is good, what is bad, be incorporated in this budget, which is missed. So that kind of analysis can be done then after. So 3 sessions over there. We are sitting on the first session. And I can see the faces of the students from different departments. You might be thinking that if I am from the agriculture background, why I have been called for the budget session, expectation and discussion. Budget is not related to the specific program. It is related to each and every individual. That is why we are here. As the budget, union budget is going to be presented on 1st of February. Nirmala Sitharaman, the concerned minister, will be presenting. As sir said that too much populated country is there. We have around 1.4 billion. And expectation of individual, meeting the expectation of individual is very difficult. हम अपने घर में 2-4 बच्चों के बीच में expectation meet नहीं कर पाते हैं. Or it is possible to meet the expectation of 1.4 billion people. That is quite challenging. One, there are challenges between the populated agendas of expectation and the fiscal deficit we have. And what is the challenge? You have to balance between the fiscal deficit as well as the agendas. So that is quite challenging. And I have strong faith on the system and capability of the individual person, Nirmala Sitharaman. We both are from the same organization. And a lot of things are there. As Sir said, we need to search out the job opportunities, infrastructure, innovation, everything. I may not list all the expectations, but they are there. So today we have the luminary speakers. Thank you everybody to join us, and we will definitely have, and you will be the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Proceeding further towards the program, we have Mr. S.P. Singh sir with us. Having spent more than 37 years of illustrious career with Punjab National Bank, including training assignments at senior level training, establishment of bank, sir has retired as the Deputy General Manager of Punjab National Bank in June 2013. Sir has been a director for the Board of Rajasthan Grameen Bank for 2 years and have been imparting pre-promotion trainings to the officers of Allahabad Bank and UCO Bank. Sir has been a member of the interview board for the internal promotions of Punjab National Bank continuously for 2 years, as well as he is an approved interview panelist for Indian Banking Personnel Selection IBPS Mumbai for more than 8 years. Sitting as an independent external expert on regional and zonal financial revival and rehabilitation committees for MSMEs, Sir has been initiated with the Syndicate Bank, Corporation Bank, and Indian Overseas Bank in many boards. I request you, sir, to please address the guest. Please.
Thank you very much. So my fellow learners on the dais, Dr. Rajul Datta, Dr. C.A. Sharma ji, Ajay Sharma ji, your Vice Chancellor, respected Shri Amar Prakash Garg ji, Ashish Agrawal ji, and HOD Economics, NAS College, Madam Chinmay Chaturvedi ji. It's a matter of pride and privilege for me to address you. After a very short interval, I was here in an entrepreneurship program. Some of you may have seen me in that program also. And this is the second time that I am before you speaking on the expectations from the budget. So I have written 2-3 lines on this. I will start with that. because it is on the expectations of the budget, expectations from the budget. तो आशाएं तो बहुत हैं, आशाएं तो बहुत हैं, राहत की दरकार, सीमाओं में है बंदी पर अपनी सरकार, सीमाओं में है बंदी पर अपनी सरकार करेगी फिर भी अच्छा, सीमाओं में है बंदी पर अपनी सरकार करेगी फिर भी अच्छा, जन जन का कल्याण और शिक्षित हर बच्चा, वृद्धों का सम्मान सुरक्षित हो बालाएं, वृद्धों का सम्मान सुरक्षित हो बालाएं, और ऐसा हो ये बजट, पूर्ण हो ये आशाएं। So dear students, faculty members, budget is an instrument of growth and development. Budget is an instrument of financial planning of the government. And budget is a statement of the revenue receipts and expenditure estimated for the next financial year of the. That is budget. In every family, the budget is prepared. There also, it represents the financial sector of the budget planning. So budget, every year, the government presents before the parliament. But there is a question mark, particularly for the students to learn. Why the budget is presented before the parliament and thereafter the expenditure is done by the government on various projects in various sectors. That question I would like to address first. The government is maintaining three types of accounts with Reserve Bank of India. Account number one is Consolidated Fund of India. Second is the Contingency Fund of India. And third is Public Money Deposit Account. And the beauty of all these accounts is that the government cannot spend even a single rupee out of the Consolidated Fund of India, whereas all the receipts are automatically being deposited in Consolidated India when they relate to the receipts of the government of India. So all the receipts are being deposited in that fund, in that account, but government is not in a position to spend even a single. My statement in this respect is half true. The government cannot spend even a single rupee out of this account unless it is approved by the parliament. That is why first the budget is prepared, and Professor Chinmay will speak on that procedural part, and thereafter it is presented before the parliament. It is being discussed, debated thoroughly, and thereafter the parliament put its stamp on it, the stamp of approval, so that the government is starting spending money out of that account 1st April onwards. On 1st April, what happens? Our next financial year begins. This is number one. Then the government has to decide its various priorities. Priorities of the government. They are very clear. And the students of management, BBA and MBA, they must know at present what are the priorities of the government. The priorities of the government, as already told by Dr. Amar Prakash Darji, who is your Vice Chancellor, that infrastructure. So infrastructure, any country needs a robust infrastructure if the country wants to develop. And we are in a phase that we are trying to cross the trajectory of being labeled as developing. The government is planning that by 2047, we should be in the list of developed countries. And for that purpose, when the studies have been carried out and many other things have been researched, it has been found that countries like Japan and Germany and other countries have crossed that trajectory from being developing to developed through MSMEs development. So you must have the robust infrastructure, number one, and the students must know what the infrastructure, as explained in the budget, means. Infrastructure, last year budget, there were 7 growth engines identified by the government for the speedy development of the nation. And those 7 growth engines were under infrastructure only: railways, roadways, ports, airports, waterways, mass transportation, and logistics. These 7 growth engines were identified. And you may have heard about the Gati Shakti mission of the government of India. Under Gati Shakti mission, the government has envisaged 100 lakh crore rupees investment on infrastructure by 2030. So when we will be pumping a lot of money in our infrastructure, we can hope that our infrastructure will match or will rather be better than any of the developed countries in fact. I hope so. Second aspect, I would take up the agriculture, because our economy is mostly agrarian. We are agrarian economy, and our economy is consumption-led economy. Economy develops if the private consumption and consumption in the rural areas improves and goes up, our development takes place. And how do we measure that our economy is developing? In terms of GDP. If the GDP is growing, we feel that our economy is growing, right? So agriculture, we are agrarian economy. For agriculture credit targets are fixed by the government in every budget. In last budget, it was 18 lakh crore of rupees. It's such a small sum that it can be there in our pocket. 18 lakh crore. And now I hope that it will be increased expectation. I hope is expectation, maybe increase to 20 lakh crore of rupees for agriculture sector. Agriculture sector is the most important sector for the growth and development of any country. What is happening in Pakistan? No atta, no data, only sannata. Why? They did not focus on their agriculture sector in budget. Country of 1.4 billion people cannot afford this. So the budget has to have an adequate allocation of funds to this sector, agriculture. That is my expectation. After infrastructure, agriculture. Second is, after we can say this third maybe MSME, because we want to develop nation by 2047. So MSMEs have a great importance from economic significance point of view. The MSMEs will take us in the developed category. The MSMEs are the second largest employment provider after the MSMEs contributing 28% of our GDP. MSMEs are contributing around 50% of our exports. So we cannot, or the budget cannot undermine the importance of MSME. And now I come to a point where all of you are going to be benefited, students. The budget has to, but we expect, has to focus or will allocate more and more funds on skill development of our young generation. India is a young nation. So we have to focus on that. Skill development, the program is running for many years now, but they have to engage or identify the institutions to give an impetus to this sector. Skill development is spending a lot of money on that, but still there is a gap between the employee and the employability skills in the employees. We have engineers, but the skill is lacking. We have professionals, the skill is lacking. So skill development. Perhaps in my last address, I told you that if you want to earn more, yes, it means I told this in the last session when I can get response. So at the same time, if you want to earn more, you have to develop your skills more. So focus on skill development, and budget is going to focus on the skill development area. And we hope that last time they allocated perhaps 20,000 to this sector, but this time we hope that it may be increased by 10 to 12. Expectation. Another area, according to my observations, India is shining in certain areas now. We are not making it those areas, particularly defense. I would like to comment on defense sector now. In defense, we were a large importer of defense equipments in the previous years. Yes or no? But now we are gradually and slowly converting from importer to exporter. And capital spending in the defense sector has increased from $47.2 billion in 2014 to $76.6 billion now, 22-23. So it's a big increase. And in 2021, defense sector exported goods and services worth rupees 1.6 billion. Now the target is for 2024, 23-24. The target is $5 billion. And can you imagine that India is exporting now what? India is exporting now Tejas. Who is manufacturing Tejas? HAL. India is exporting now missiles, BrahMos. India is exporting now many other defense equipment. And we are exporting to not less than a dozen countries, including Russia and France, Italy, which call themselves as we are the developed country. So we can feel proud on that. In the defense capital spending, infrastructure capital spending, or any other sector capital spending. Last year it was mentioned in the budget. This is capex carnival. When capex goes up or capital expenditure goes up, the capital assets are created in the country. And we derive the benefits from that expenditure over a long period of time. It is not we spend today and we get benefit today and finish. This is not like that. So any budget which is focusing more on capital expenditure is always a good thing for the development of the nation. Next, I would like to take up is banking sector, because I am from the bank. So I cannot ignore that sector. What is expected from this budget or the banking sector? At present, you may have observed or you may have read in various news reports that banks are strongly placed this year. Their NPAs have gone down. Their profits are rising. So they do not need, banks do not need any capital infusing by the government of India, particularly in this budget. Otherwise, it has been there in every budget in the previous years. So capital infusing will not be there. This I expect for the banking industry. Otherwise, the budget is not complete without the banks. Why do I say so? I say so because we have got fiscal deficit. And I have requested Dr. Ajay Sharma sir to address the deficit part of the budget. The fiscal deficit in our budget is always higher. For the current year, 22-23, it is 16.61 lakh crore, which is around 6.8% of the GDP. It has to be reduced. In 2003, 2003, an important act was passed. That is FR, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, FRMBA. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, there the target of fiscal deficit has been fixed by that act, 3% of GDP. And the government was managing its fiscal deficit till the pandemic is spread. The government was managing. They were trying to keep it up to 3.5%. But now it has gone up to 6.8%. As per the act, it should not exceed the limit fixed by the parliament. But the same parliament can give approval exceeding the limit to the government by the same act in the pandemic situation or the situations which they warrant that the fiscal deficit may go up. But this year, this budget 23-24, we expect that government will try to reduce it from 6.8% or 6.4%, below 6%, 5.8% or 5.6%. They would like to reduce. And in the next year also, we expect that they will reduce that further till they bring it around 4%, 4.5%. They will be trying to reduce it. So in the banking, I told that why do I say so? The project is not complete because for fiscal deficit financing, government has a borrowing program. Government borrows. Before that, it was deficit financing, note print kiya or budget ka deficit pura kar liya. Now it is not like that. Government has to borrow. So their borrowing program, 80% of the investment in that, 80% lending of that borrowing program of the government is completed by whom? By the banks. We are the major lenders there. That is why the budget is not complete without the banks or banking. I would conclude, because my time is limited, I will conclude that this is the full-fledged budget before the general election. Before 2024, we have the parliament. So we may expect certain goodies this time. And I hope the income tax limit is going to be raised to 5 lakh of rupees. This is the expectation. And these two parallel runs, the exemptions and the lower rate, exemptions and the higher rate of taxation, and no exemptions and the lower rate of taxation. Perhaps these two systems are running parallelly now. They will try to integrate in this budget. They may try to integrate these two systems, that we should keep exemptions and we should have the rates of the taxes also lower. But for that, you see what is the tax ratio of our country, direct and indirect? Direct and indirect. Direct 35%, indirect 65%. This is the tax ratio in our country. In developed or OECD countries, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD countries, the reverse is happening. 67 and 33%. The tax ratio between direct and indirect is direct 33%, indirect 67%. Why this is happening in our case that we have direct 35 and indirect 65% because agriculture is fully exempted? Then we as Indians or we as proud Indians, if we save tax, we feel proud of it. If we pay tax, we feel very bad about it. We want to have a beautiful infrastructure, all the facilities from the government, all other concessions, everything should be wonderful. And we want to be developed nation, but we do not want to pay. Can the government take us to the developed stage without the sufficient revenue at its command? Answer is no. So we must feel proud in paying taxes. We should not. Without revenue, the government cannot run. So that is why I put forward that we should feel proud while paying taxes. We should not indulge in tax evasion, etc., etc., etc. Digital rupee is coming to plug these type of leakages of revenues. But our mindset has to change, particularly related to the taxes and particularly related to the income tax. So with these expectations, with these words, I thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the factful insights. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Ashish Agrawal, sir. Dr. Ashish Agrawal, sir, is a senior chartered accountant practicing from last 37 years. He is a member of Chamber of Commerce, Meerut, and Chartered Accountants Institute, Delhi, and also Income Tax Bar Association, Meerut. Sir is associated with more than 18 different educational and religious trusts and societies. I welcome you, sir, and request to address.
कैमरा ऑफ कर दीजिएगा और ये